Girlfriend, I love you, but marriage and kids aren't the excuse. Maintaining our femininity, reshaping our identity after having children, and intentionally creating softer moments in our life in the midst of chaos. And I'm talking the chaos of trying to bounce between everybody's schedules, your schedule, the children's schedule, the extracurricular activities that they have after school, trying to get grocery runs in between that time, and still nurturing the relationship that you have with a partner in crime that you're walking this life with. Your femininity is so very important. To me, I feel like it is just as important as being responsible for the kids that you birthed into this world. That is how much you have to protect and care for your femininity. I have 3 children. Actually, I have 3 sons. They are 10, 11, and 13. So I know exactly what it feels like to run on pure fumes, okay? I know how exhausting it feels when all you want to do is crawl in the bed, but instead you have to get off work, then you have to run somebody to basketball practice 30 minutes away from your home, then you have to go grocery shopping, then you have to come home and still find some kind of time for yourself to do your skincare, do your eye creams and all of that, because you do not want the eye bags to start taking over and consuming your life. It's tough. It is pretty tough. However, with the right systems in place, I promise you can make time and space to do everything that you need to do on your list. So let's spend a little bit of time today talking about the real pressures of modern womanhood and why it can be so overwhelming. But on the flip side of that, why that femininity is so important, because it is an anchor and it can help you overcome being so overwhelmed in your life. And on top of that, practical systems that we can implement every single day that give us that softness, but also allow us to be super productive and still find time for ourselves, because we can be soft and productive in a very demanding life. Let me start by saying this. I absolutely love being a woman. Like, do y'all feel like that? I love being a woman, but more than that, I love seeing how far women have come over the decades, because there was a time when a woman's value was so limited. All she could do was be a wife and a mother. Let's think back to the 30s, 40s, 50s. A woman's job was very, very simple. She was to be married, and she was to be married young. She was to take care of the house. All she could do was clean that house. That house better stay spotless. She better have dinner on the table when her husband got home from work. She better bathe all the children. And y'all know back then, baby, the babies were popped out, okay? My grandmother, she was one of 10. Baby, they were popping those babies out natural, okay, and popping them out back to back. But the thing was, she better have all those kids in order. She better have those kids bathed and put to bed on time. And she did all of this, the cooking, the cleaning, taking care of everybody else. She did that before she was to take care of herself. That was the expectation. But look at how women have evolved over the last several decades. The workforce started shifting, opportunities started opening up for women. Women started entering boardrooms. We started building careers. We started building brands. We started having our own independence. But here's the kicker, because even though we evolved over the years and we started getting these amazing opportunities career-wise, the overall expectations did not decrease. The expectations multiplied. We live in a very different time now too. We have a lot of expectations. So it's not just about expecting us to be the wife and the mother. Now we're supposed to be career focused. We're supposed to be patient and present mothers. We're supposed to be emotionally available partners. We're supposed to be the household manager. We're supposed to be the cleaning service. We're supposed to be the scheduler, the chef, the gym babe, the administrator, look like a trophy wife, and all of that, while somehow still looking well rested. Now take all of that and then add on top of it the woman who's still trying to figure out her life. Maybe she is trying to rebuild, she's pivoting careers, or she's just trying to rediscover herself after having children. The modern woman is tired. And it's not because we're incapable, we're not lazy, we're not ungrateful. We are just tired. The modern woman's brain probably processes about 50,000 thoughts before 10 a.m. and I can guarantee all of those 50,000 thoughts are probably about everybody else. Okay, she might have a couple in there about herself, but majority of the time, our minds are constantly processing and thinking about everything that we have to do for everybody else. Now, let me say this, none of this is a complaint. I wouldn't dare ask for history to be rewritten. I would not ask for any of the women who came before us to have their voices silenced. Women fought for the opportunities that we have today. The women that came before us are the reason that we were granted equality. They are the reason that we gained our respect. So no, we don't want to take anything back. This is not what this is about. This is about acknowledgement. How can we know what systems we need to put in place, or how can we know the type of self-care that we need in the moment if we're not taking a moment to just pause and say, you know, I am a little overwhelmed. I am a little stressed out. Here's the thing about us, ladies, we have a lot on our plate, and 99% of the time we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done through the exhaustion. We're going to get it done through the fatigue. It does not matter. We are going to get it done. And I literally think that's because we are just wired differently. Like, does anybody else feel like that? I feel like maybe because we can birth children and our bodies have certain capabilities, and instinctually we just have like a third eye or something. I don't know, but I just feel like as women, our capacity is extremely high. Just because we have the capability to just go, does not mean continue to do so and never stop to ask yourself if you're under pressure or if you're feeling overwhelmed. We have strength and we have that capacity to keep going, but we also need to take responsibility for ourselves and say, okay, girlfriend, are you doing okay? I think you're feeling a lot of pressure right now. I think you need to stop and take a moment for yourself. Honestly, it is detrimental to your health if you don't stop and recognize these things. When you don't stop to recognize these things, I can guarantee that your softness and that femininity, that is the first thing to go. Now, why would I say that your softness and your femininity are the first things to go? Well, when you are under so much pressure and you're like the Energizer Bunny and you just keep going and going and going and you never stop and you never ask yourself, okay, are these too many expectations, or are there too many expectations in place? And do I need to cut back? If you're not stopping, what are going to be some of the very things that start affecting your day? Stress, irritability, you have inner conflict, you have sleep deprivation. These things affect how you respond. I know the internet loves to paint this picture of softness being like, oh, just soft and cutesy and girly and everything is pink and I just have all this time to move and flow as I want to. That is not softness. Softness has everything to do with how you respond in your environment. Let's look at this from a real world perspective. Maybe work has me extremely stressed out right now, and all I can do is think about how overwhelmed I am. Maybe all I can do is think about, oh my gosh, I am severely underpaid. Maybe all I think about is how everybody else in the department or in my department has, advanced and they've gotten promotions and I'm still stuck. Maybe all I can think about is how there's these mandatory trainings that they keep throwing at us every 5 minutes, how policies are changing left and right. And keep in mind, I haven't done what I'm supposed to. I haven't stopped, I haven't paused, and I have not forced myself to realize that the expectations and the pressure that are in my life right now are taking over and they are consuming me, and I don't know which way is left or right, and I need to stop. I haven't done any of that. So yes, when I get home, I am going to respond to my environment by being moody. I'm going to be irritable. I'm going to be short. I don't want to be bothered with anybody. I don't want to talk. Mentally, I am completely checked out by the time I leave work and get home. I don't have anything for anybody else. I am depleted. And if I'm depleted, of course, I'm not going to invest into myself. So there goes my skincare. There goes the time that I have to intentionally wind down. There goes my softness. At that point, it becomes just the TV, silence, and isolation. And this is not the good isolation, okay? We know that there is a time and a place where we put ourselves into an isolation period where we are trying to build confidence. Maybe we're doing some inner self work. No. This is not that. This is the bad isolation, the isolation that you start to pull away from everybody and you start to kind of go into a depression. Emotional dysregulation does not give you softness. Being exhausted and then that exhaustion will slowly turn into resentment. That does not give you softness. So your softness will be depleted once again. If you are operating under immense amounts of pressure, that does not give you softness. So as you can see, one of the very first things that goes is your softness. And we need our softness because our softness is our anchor. Children or not, married or not, career driven or still figuring it out, your femininity is not tied to your circumstances. It is tied to your regulation. I honestly feel as women, we have a naturally softer side for a reason. Like, it's just ingrained in our DNA, our makeup. We just have it. Our softer side keeps us emotionally steady, but it also gives us the ability to see multiple perspectives. Like, when we're dealing with a bunch of different individuals, it allows us to see multiple different perspectives without immediately jumping to a conclusion. Like, yes, men and women both have the ability to emotionally process, and we both have the ability to understand emotional intelligence. However, I do believe that because women have a naturally softer side, it's almost like it gives us a little advantage, a slight little boost when it comes to emotionally processing and emotional intelligence. You may agree or disagree, it is totally up to you. But to me, I feel like when we're talking about softness and when we're talking about femininity, I feel as though that is discernment. For women, it is an extra level of discernment that we have within us that helps us to process and see things and take in information on the daily from our environment. Now, here's the thing I want you to realize. If you are not giving your softer side regular maintenance, you will lose that ability to have discernment. And the reason is, we have a lot of major shifts, major life shifts that happen in our lives. Maybe you get married, maybe you become a mother, maybe you have a career transition, or maybe you're struggling with that identity after having kids and you're trying to figure out who you are at this point in life. These are major life shifts that take place in a woman's life. So when we are not regularly giving our softer side maintenance and we're allowing everything else to take precedence over that part of our life and that part of our daily routine, we'll lose that discernment. After having my 3 sons, I struggled with my identity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what kind of career I wanted. I just didn't know anything, because from 20 to 25, all I knew was being pregnant, having a baby, and taking care of a baby and paying bills. Like, that was just all I knew at that point. I didn't have any time to think about myself or think about the, woman that I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. I didn't have the mental capacity at that time. I had to realize something very uncomfortable. I didn't know what it meant to be feminine or soft. So yes, I was a little delayed in learning femininity and softness and all the things. So I had to turn to social media. Now, of course, I had to get through a lot of fluff. As we know, with social media, you're dealing with things that sell or things that go viral. So yes, when you type in how to be feminine or how to be soft, it's going to pull up all of the pretty aesthetic things first. But again, I'm in my late 20s at this point. I'm like, this has to be more than that. Like, this is deeper than just this surface level stuff. Now, again, I'm not saying that surface level is bad, because some of these things in the long run, after you've gotten a deeper understanding of what femininity is, some of these can be things that help you boost your femininity or make you feel more feminine. As you're growing and you're maturing and you're getting more clarity on your values and you're getting a deeper understanding of the woman that you desire to be, it gets a little easier day after day to start sifting through the noise, sifting through the surface level items that keep trying to trickle in front of you. But as I began sifting through, I finally started catching the content and the videos and the talks about femininity that were tied to self-confidence, self-perception, boundaries, a strong sense of self, emotional regulation, forgiveness, healing childhood wounds. I'm pretty sure this is when the neurons started firing in my head or something, because I'm like, oh, this is what it means to be feminine. This is what it means to be soft. And not only that, oh, this is how I maintenance my softer feminine side. Regular maintenance to your inner world is how you maintain softness and femininity and how it keeps you anchored. So when things like work, marriage, motherhood, social expectations, transitions, uncertainty, when all of these things are trying to pull you in every which way in your life, now you have the ability to stand still within the midst of all of that. Your softness and your discernment are at optimal functionality. So how do we do it? That's obviously the big question here. How can we maintain our femininity, stand in our softness, while also being super productive? I'm going to tell you now, it's absolutely doable. It's absolutely doable, but it's going to require you to build the right kind of system. And here's the kicker: it has to become a non-negotiable. And let me tell you from personal experience, when it comes to kids, you are going to have to invest in this even more than you ever have before. It has to be amplified, because as they get older, they're going to require more time. They're going to demand more time. They're going to demand more conversation. They're going to demand that you become more emotionally available, quite honestly, because they're changing, especially when they're hitting that preteen age, teenage age. We all know that is a time in your life where a lot of things are changing. So of course they need their moms to, moms and dad for that matter, they need us to be more emotionally available. Well, if they need more emotional availability at that time, and I'm trying to make softness and femininity one of my top priorities, I have to make sure that I'm pouring into myself so that I can pour into my children and give them what they need. Now, like I mentioned, there are a couple of universal things that each of us could work on when it comes to building our systems. Again, everybody's is going to be different, but one universal thing that we'll all have in common is to build systems that regulate our nervous system. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, Toni, we hear that all the time. Everybody's always talking about regulate your nervous system. And that is because if your nervous system is not regulated, your responses are going to be out of control. It could be the smallest trigger. And I kind of laugh. I have to laugh because I've been in that situation where I was overstimulated and where my emotions were not regulated. My nervous system was not regulated. So something so tiny just blew me up and I responded with an attitude, and I mean just made a whole situation out of nothing. But that is because we are not in control of our emotions and our nervous system is not regulated. And that doesn't benefit anybody, especially your kids. And I bring up kids specifically because if you know, kids, they will take you there. Kids will push your buttons. They will push you to the limit. They're kids. They bring the noise. They don't know anything else but to just bring unnecessary noise and chaos into your house. Their frontal lobes are still, developing. So common sense is not so common in that age bracket, okay? There are plenty of times where my kids do things that they make absolutely no sense. And it just, again, if it just takes me there, especially when I'm not regulated, it will take me there because I'm like, it just makes no sense. You're pissing me off. It makes no sense. When you have enough control in those moments to just pause and stop yourself before you jump off the deep end and start responding in a way that's nasty, ugly, and just completely unnecessary, that's regulation. That regulation is your femininity in practice. There is not a huge shift that you have to make in order to bring more of your softness out or draw more of your softness out. Regulation, using your power to pause, that's all of your softness right there in play. Another way that you could look at it is practical systems that create flow. Every single day is not going to be perfect. There are going to be ups and downs. Like I said, for women, we have PMS. That's going to cause you to go up and down. Life circumstances cause you to go up and down. Work causes you to go up and down. I mean, there are so many things that affect our emotions and can affect our mood daily. But the most important thing is, even in those moments and even in all of that up and down that happens throughout our day, we need systems that can create flow. Creating a flow state is creating a system that takes away as much stress as possible. Take away all of the low-hanging fruit, all of the just everyday thoughts that you have that are completely unnecessary. Take those away as much as possible. So how do we do that? You could look at implementing a weekly reset. Now, I know a lot of us have probably made content about weekly resets and, okay, this is what I do on my Sunday reset. There is a point behind it. That might be your deep clean. That might be the day that you deep condition and do your whole wash day routine. That might be the day that you sit and organize your calendar. The act of deep cleaning itself is not effortless. Obviously, you're going to put some knee grease. You're going to put some elbow grease. You're going to put some back grease. Okay. If you're deep cleaning, well, this is how I deep clean. I'm up, I'm bending, I'm moving, I'm reaching, I'm doing everything. When I deep clean, it takes me a good 4 to 6 hours, depending on everything that I'm cleaning. Again, it's not an effortless task, but if I've had a very long day at work, I'm irritated, I'm tired, and I'm ready to go home, and I go home and my space is clean, My environment is welcoming. Don't you think that's going to change your attitude when you walk into your house? Don't you think you're going to be able to relax a little bit more? That is what I mean when I say create a flow state, something that is going to instantly take that stress away and get you into a calm and relaxed mood. Doing your hair every week is not an effortless task. However, if I wake up in the morning and the last thing that I have to do is think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to my hair today? That takes away that low-hanging fruit. That takes away all the unnecessary thoughts. Now you can wake up in a better mood. Maybe you've already laid your clothes out. You're ready for a productive morning. If I have a very good morning, and I'm talking about I wake up, I've stretched, I've had my prayer time, I've journaled, I've done my gratitude journal, I've done my skincare, I am super productive that day. Let me know if you are the same. You're a busy mom. Meal plan every Sunday. Meal plan. I can guarantee that we can unanimously agree that there is one question that we absolutely hate. And that question is what? What is for dinner? Nothing irritates my soul more than getting asked 3 different times, what is for dinner? Take away their ability to ask. And if you're curious, well, how does this help with my femininity? How does this help me be soft? How does this help to become more productive in my life? Well, the productivity piece, that's pretty self-explanatory at this point. If you're cooking and you're meal planning and you're taking away the ability to have to think about it on the day-to-day, you're already going to get that meal done. If it's a crock pot meal, you're already prepared. That meal is in there cooking. By the time you get home, dinner is done. Now you have the whole evening to do something else. Now you have the whole evening to invest into maybe a side business that you're trying to open. Maybe you're trying to invest into getting your certifications done. Now you have created more time in your busy schedule to focus on things that you want to do. It eliminates unnecessary mental clutter. It removes the repetitive decision making that you keep having to do every single day. It gives your brain more space to breathe. Softness thrives in spaciousness, and systems are what create spaciousness in your life. Protect at least one daily feminine ritual. This is another universal rule that we could apply when we are thinking about building our systems in our lives to give us that softness, maintain our femininity, and make us more productive. A daily feminine ritual is that thing that you're going to look forward to doing for yourself every single day that makes you feel feminine and soft and productive, or what I like to reference as intentional pretty femininity. You might not even be an aesthetic girly, but you still want to create beautiful moments in your life some kind of way. So I don't want you to think of this as, oh, well, she's just talking about aesthetics. No, this is something that you are going to do every single day that you can look forward to and get excited about and feel happy about, that encourages you to stay locked in with your femininity and your softness. Now, here's the thing, and if you don't take anything else from this video, please remember this. Intentional pretty femininity cannot come before regulating your nervous system. You have to regulate your nervous system first, because doing so will make you move with intention. If you try to do pretty femininity first, you will have no intention behind it. So you'll do the things that make you feel feminine and it looks pretty on the outside, but you're not going to feel them as much as you would if you regulated your nervous system first. I have been on a Bridgerton binge the last few days. I have actually never seen Bridgerton. I didn't even realize it came out as long ago as it did. I just watched it and I just watched all of them. So one thing that we can all agree on is, yes, women did not have as many rights back then. Okay, they lacked voices. They lacked the ability to speak up for themselves in those days. And I even think there's a point in one of the seasons where Portia Featherington was like, dream? You have a husband? Like basically saying like, what are you talking about, dreams and goals? I think she was talking to Penelope. But she's like, dreams? What are you talking about? You have a husband. That's your responsibility. Being a wife is your responsibility. Having kids, that's your responsibility. Again, back then, women were not breadwinners. They did not have jobs. They didn't build businesses. But one thing I can say is that each of those women embodied softness and grace. And I'm talking every single young woman was groomed for softness, politeness, poise, femininity, elegance. Watching that show and seeing how those women spoke, how they responded, how they carried themselves in public, has been a great reminder to me personally on how I need to carry myself in the world, how I should speak when I am, having a conversation with someone, how I should respond even when I'm in a situation where I'm emotionally triggered, watching how my energy is when I speak to people. Because honestly, femininity can be shown in the smallest moments. And even something as simple as watching how you speak or watching how you respond, that is a quick way for you to check your femininity. Whatever it is, just make it a requirement, because the last thing that we need is another pesky obligation to add to our to-do list. Our to-do list is full. We have enough. But again, this is something that you're going to look forward to doing every day, or something that you're going to look forward to doing weekly. That is a requirement that you're not going to let up on, because it intentionally gives you that motivation and that push to stay in your softness and stay in your femininity, which is going to help you remain productive. When it comes to building systems, you want to apply the 60-40 rule. That is the other universal rule that we should all follow when it comes to building our systems. As wives, mothers, girlfriends, employees, business owners, our time gets distributed very quickly. There is always somebody who needs something. There is always a child that needs help with homework. There's always a partner who wants more quality time. There's always a boss asking for a project to be completed. There's always a house that needs to be cleaned. There's always groceries that need to be bought. The list never ends, but what I need you to remember is that you still exist. In the midst of all of that, 60% of your time and energy should go to the responsibilities and the people that are around you. So that's your family, work, household, your obligations. But 40%, at minimum 40%, that should be held for you. That 40%, that is how you replenish your energy. That is how you reconnect to yourself. That is how you begin to invest in the things that actually bring you joy. That is how you pour into your own growth. That 40% is how you continue to grow as a woman and evolve as a woman outside of the role that you play for everybody else. When you're constantly putting yourself in a position to give away 100% of yourself, you will slowly begin to resent people. Those in your life, even your kids. If you feel like you can't break the cycle of exhaustion, that's probably because you've been giving 100% of yourself away. If you feel like you just don't know how to be soft, or you don't know what femininity is anymore, that's probably because you've been giving 100% of yourself away. You may need to adjust these numbers, but at minimum it's 60-40. You have to keep 40% for yourself, especially if you want to remain productive. It's the only way that you're going to be able to do it, because you have to keep something in the reservoir for yourself. Keep your cup filled, because we all know you cannot pour from an empty cup. Now, after today, or whenever you're watching this video, I need you to go and build your systems. I only gave you 3 quick little universal things that you can add into the system that you build, because really it's that simple. We don't need some long drawn out plan to make us more productive or make us more feminine. We just need to do simple things. Keep some energy and some time for yourself. Regulate your nervous system and give yourself something to look forward to. It really is that simple, okay? So build those systems, remain productive, and remain in your softness and in your femininity. And that is all that I have for you guys on today's video. I am so glad that you came to hang out with me. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and do all the things. Y'all know I never really actually say that, but I'm going to say it today. Whatever. I said it. Is what it is. Anyway, thanks for coming to hang out with me, and until next time.